A few silver linings on offense provide a little bit of a silver lining after a disastrous game. What's up, everybody? Good morning. It's still not a good morning, but we'll try to make it the best morning we can, I guess. And just hope that the next game the Seahawks play is better than the last one. But it's Tuesday. You guys know the drill. You guys know what it's all about. We are here to talk about some young players on the team. It's Youth Watch Tuesday. We just like to get a general idea of how the young players, which is basically anybody on a rookie scale contract, is doing. And I'll tell you, for as bad as Sunday night was, there were actually a lot of young players that played pretty well for the Seahawks on Sunday night, mostly on the offense. But if you're looking at like the foundational pieces of this team over the next maybe 5 to 7 years, it's not bad. So let's start with the running backs. Ken Walker didn't play. Charbonnet played pretty well. He had 9 touches. We barely got him the ball, and when we did, I mean, he was productive. He scored a touchdown. He's about to hit double-digit touchdowns this season. He may do it this week, up to 9. The FF grade went up. So he's doing things. And it's very unlikely, and I certainly wouldn't predict it to happen. There is a scenario where we end up with 2,000-yard running backs, if you combine it all. I'm sure that we won't, because we don't have the ability to utilize our running backs in that way, but theoretically, we're not going to be that far off. And one of the two, I think, will probably get over 1,000 yards. So there is something cooking here. It's just not exactly what we would hope for here. McIntosh had like 3 touches for 9 yards. I don't really have much to say about it, but I don't think we're learning a lot about Kenny McIntosh, but he belongs in the league. Good PFF grade. He's fine. He's whatever. George Holani, he actually got a little bit of action in this game, and he's got positive yards now. That's cool. I think he had 10 total yards from scrimmage in this game. And the PFF grade is good. Not that it means anything because he doesn't play enough. But, yeah, the running back stuff, okay. You can at least say the Seahawks have built a good running back stable out of young players, which is what you want to do. You don't want old running backs. Unfortunately, we just don't get enough out of them because we can't run the ball for other reasons. And I know people are being very critical. Some people in my comments are being very critical of Walker right now, but you can't deny his talent. All right, next up, wide receiver. This is the strong silver lining here. JSN had another very good game. I know there was one point in the broadcast on Sunday night where Collinsworth was talking about how we were throwing the ball to JSN too much, but I don't know where that comes from. He's getting open, he's producing, he's doing his thing. He hasn't dropped a pass in a while. Like, what are you going to do? Throw it to DK Metcalf, who's getting bracketed every play? No. It was a really weird thing for Collinsworth to say. I don't know what was up with that. But if there's one thing on this team that is working right now, it's JSN. He is almost certainly at this point going to get to 100 touches, probably 100 catches. And he's already got 1,000 yards from scrimmage. He's definitely going to get there in just receiving yards very soon. 82.3. He's cooking. We got something going on here, man. And if there's anything to feel good about right now, it's this. I don't think JSN is a top 10 receiver yet, but I think that next year, a full season of him rolling will be worthy of a top 10 spot. I know he's not as good as the outside receivers, the Justin Jeffersons and the Jamar Chases of the world. He'll never be as good as those guys, but in terms of his utility, he can be a top 10 receiver, and I think he's knocking on the door. Derek Young actually played a little bit, didn't do anything. Jake Bobo had a nice third down catch, so that actually boosted his numbers up a little bit, his grade up a little bit. He's almost at 100 yards. He'll probably get there, but yeah, there's just no spark there this year, man. There's nothing to it. Like, if you gave Jake Bobo snaps to Derek Young this year, I don't think you'd notice anything different. And you couldn't have said that last year. So the party's over, as far as I'm concerned. Bobo's had every opportunity to show that he's got something in the tank, and he doesn't have it. Like, right now, Tyler Lockett never gets open. If Bobo was doing things notably well, he would probably take a lot of Lockett snaps, and it's not happening. And when he does get snaps, he just doesn't do enough. So, going forward, Bobo, I don't even know if he's going to be on the team next year, but if he is, he cannot be receiver 3. That much I do know. If he's wide receiver 3, that is a dismal failure of this team. AJ Barner, 1 catch, 5 yards, blew a block. Pretty bad game. PFF grade fell like 2.2 points, which is pretty bad when you are this late in the season. He will probably get to 200 yards on the season, so that's cool, I guess. He will probably end up with a pretty decent rookie year, but there are some big holes in his game. And I think he'll get better. He is young. I think we'll be okay, but it's tough sometimes. Offensive line, this is the other guy. This is the other guy that I do want to give some props to, and this is a guy who's getting dragged around a little bit by some wings of the Seahawks fan base. I've seen it a little bit in my comments too. I guess he has like the second most pressures allowed of any tackle in the league at 40, and people are using this to say that he's not a very good player. I think this is very goofy. I don't know how people watch this team every week and come to the conclusion that Charles Cross is bad because he gives up a lot of pressures. We throw the ball a lot. We have no balance on offense, right? Our tight ends aren't really good at blocking, right? Like, even the tight ends we have that are supposed to be good at blocking are not. And how many times does Charles Cross have to get down in his stance knowing that he's going to have to pass block, and the defense knows he's pass blocking too? Maybe the Bengals have it a little bit worse, but this team can't run the ball. They don't even try to be balanced most of the time. Of course, you're going to give up pressures. So, to me, the context is really important here, right? Charles Cross wouldn't be giving up as many pressures if we had a normal offense. By the way, we also have a rookie offensive coordinator who, there are some nice things about Ryan Grubb, but he doesn't really know what he's doing right now overall. He's hanging these guys out to dry. So, I'm still pretty big proponent of Cross. I thought he played decently on Sunday night. His grades actually went up in run blocking and overall, which is notable because he did give up stuff. Don't get me wrong, he's given up stuff. But I'm not worried about this. A competently built offense would see this number maybe cut in half. I really do believe that. So I'm not worried about this. The things I'm worried about with Charles Cross are more along the lines of whether or not he fits this run blocking scheme that we're trying to implement with the gap blocking, because he's more of a mobile guy. He's more of a guy who needs to be climbing to tap into his full potential, but that's a different thing. So Cross played pretty good. Haynes played 3 snaps and his grades went way down, which is pretty sad, but it doesn't mean anything. Oluwatimi played 11 snaps, picked up a penalty, grades, whatever. There's not much to say there. He didn't play enough. Lomia had as bad a game as you can have. Like, what he did on Sunday night would be excusable if he was going up against, like, if he was going up against Aaron Donald one-on-one the whole game, but he wasn't. Like, this is ridiculous. He's a right guard. This should never happen. 10 pressures, 2 penalties, maybe it was 1. Grades went down. Abe Lucas had, I think, a penalty and allowed, like, 5 pressures. Grades still went up somehow. I've already said I don't agree with that assessment. I don't think his grades should have gone up. I'm sorry. His grades went up in this game. He actually was graded well. I didn't think he played that well, but I also understand that when you're playing with Lomia next to you, it's hard. Like, Lomia, that guy was so incompetent that he probably made Lucas look worse than he is. I can kind of see that. Mike Gerald got 3 snaps in garbage time too, but we're not learning nothing from that. Okay, defense. Let's kick on over the defense. Byron Murphy made, 2 tackles, and that's really about it. He was kind of a non-factor out there. I think he got a couple of pressures, but they were soft pressures. PFF grade went down. PFF didn't like what he did. In fairness, you watch that first half and you see our defensive line getting blown off the ball over and over and over again. There's nothing to like. Tyrese Knight, 6 tackles, one for loss. So on the surface, that doesn't look too bad, but he he missed a tackle that I can remember. His coverage was kind of a disaster. Excuse me. And his PFF grade plummeted. I'm still a fan. I'm still high on him, but that was a game where you see how far he still has to go. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it was a wake-up call after some really good football lately. Drake Thomas played a little bit in garbage time, and he's picked up a couple tackles on special teams over the last few weeks, so he's up to 11. But in terms of him playing defense, I mean, he doesn't really have it, which shouldn't surprise anybody. Edge rusher, Mafe played well. He just didn't play a lot. Picked up a tackle, 22 snaps, had several pressures. I think he did play pretty well. It's just, I don't know if he's hurt. I don't know if we were resting him. But 22 snaps is not enough to truly impact the game in the way that we need a guy like Boye Mafe to impact the game. Derek Hall also got some pressure, but it seems like the general consensus was that he's not playing the run well. His PFF grade has plummeted to basically the point where he's barely replacement level. And I could see him having another notch that he can go up next year with his third year. I could see him getting better in 2025 and becoming a better player, but I don't know. Things have kind of capped out with him for this year, I feel like, and I'm not thrilled about where we are. He did have a tackle, but I think he missed a tackle as well. The first rushing touchdown by the Packers, he looked pretty bad on that play, although he kind of got hung out to dry by the situation. And, this is why I talk about swapping some of these good edge rushers in trades for elite ones, like a Micah Parsons. At a certain point, you got to get some hyper elite players in here. And if there's an opportunity to go get somebody like a Micah Parsons and you have to cash in some of your good players to do it, I think you got to think about it. Okay, cornerback. And I mean, I don't think I need to say it out loud, but Reek Woolen embarrassed himself. And he's been kind of embarrassing himself since that game ended on social media. And I'm still in the same place with him, man. He's not good. I don't think he wants to be good. I don't think he has any interest in tapping into his great potential. And I kind of feel like he's cooked. I cannot believe that he's okay going out like this when he hasn't even been paid money yet. He's made after tax, maybe $1 million in his NFL career. And he's okay with that. It surprises me, but I have to go off what I see. 2 tackles, a pass breakup, but he allowed, if you include the pass interference, about 100 yards. He had a very, very stupid late quarterback hit that was a roughing the passer. Beyond brain dead. I don't know what that is, but I think the shine's off the apple, and we need another cornerback next year, period. He's not the guy. I'm convinced. Devin Witherspoon played a better game. You still wouldn't really call it good. 3 tackles. PFF grade went down a little bit, but it was just kind of like whatever. I know he gave up a touchdown, but that's garbage time. I'm not tripping on that. What I am tripping on is just he didn't seem all that impactful. Like, he could have been anybody out there. Now, that doesn't take away how good Witherspoon had played in some of the previous games, but that was bad. That's it for young cornerbacks. These other guys aren't playing right now. D. Williams isn't even on the team. Safety, the only safety who played on this team who was young is Kobe Bryant, and he did rack up the tackle numbers. He had 8 of them. That's not a good thing. He's a safety. You don't want your safety making that many tackles unless they're like Budda Baker or something. It probably means the running back's getting deep downfield, and it means a lot of receivers are catching the ball down the field. PFF grade went through the floor, still up pretty good, and don't get me wrong, I'm not dissing on Kobe Bryant overall. I still think he's been very good this year. I'm really happy with his play, but man, that's a little bit of a wake-up call to remind you that, maybe Kobe Bryant's a good player, but he's not quite there at great yet, and maybe he won't be. He doesn't need to be. Oh, shoot, sorry. But not a good game. Not a good game for most players. So there's really nothing exciting going on the defense with these young players. It's all just kind of like bleh. There is some good stuff on offense, like I said in the intro, but not enough. And it still wasn't enough for the offense to have a good output. It was just a couple of silver linings. All right, I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. More videos soon.